Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and if you're new, thanks for checking out this video today. So today's video I'm going to be taking you through a nice, easy, step-by-step guide on how to do the Shadows of Evil Easter egg. And this is both going to be a guide for the advanced players and the not so advanced players that need a little bit of extra help and a hand to learn the map a little bit too, as well as some tips on how to finish this Easter egg. Before we even get started, you are obviously watching the end of this Easter egg, so bear that in mind right now. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the whole of my team, who if I didn't even have, then this Easter egg tutorial that I'm doing for you right now would not be possible. And I have to say thank you to every single one of them. We put a lot of time and effort into doing this Easter egg for you guys, and to be perfectly honest, it was a pain in the ass to do. So it's a good thing that it is finally finished. So there you go. But anyhow, I hope this guide will be helpful for you. I'm going to go through it all, both with voice and parts without voice at points. And I'm going to start with probably the most unobvious thing to most people, which is some prerequisites, which you all probably should take heed of, and some of them are necessary. So before I get into the first main step, I'm going to talk about the prerequisites, so I'm going to bring those up now. Okay, so the prerequisites. So the first thing that I must stress here and tell everybody is that this Easter egg can only be done with 4 players. If you want to get all the way to the end of the Easter egg, that is, you can do this on solo or up to 3, but you will not be able to do the last step of this Easter egg. You will only be able to get up to the part where you have to trap and kill the Shadowman, but you will not be able to do the steps after that. So my advice would be, if you want to get the calling card and also actually complete the Easter egg, you do it with 4 players. So just bear that in mind. To really finish this Easter egg, you need 4 players. Next of all, before I get onto the Gobblegums, I'm going to put every single step for this Easter egg. For those of you that don't know what, don't want to watch the video, I will put all steps down in the description for you guys, so you can just read through there, and it should help you out to kind of figure out which bits you might be missing or whatever. Or if you're an advanced player and you know what you're doing but you've forgotten a step, then you can just look it up in there. So if you need that, then feel free to look at that. Moving on to the last prerequisite here is the Gobblegums. Now, you don't have to choose what I have put on here for you, and basically I'm going to go through. You don't have to choose these. You can choose other things if you want, but this is just my opinion of what you should have during this Easter egg. Again, choose anything you wish, but these are the best choices. Anyway, so this is obviously once you get all the DLCs as well, so bear that in mind. Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is a cashback. A cashback you really should have at points during this Easter egg. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me when I say you should take one of these for the flag step, because obviously you get a max ammo each time you do part of the flag step. But to be perfectly honest, if you do a flag step and you complete it, and then obviously you have no ammo after a certain amount of time through the next round, then you're a bit screwed when it comes to doing the next flag. So really, you should have a max ammo for that. So to be honest, I would get a max ammo for that. You could also use it for filling up your egg as well if you are running out of ammo there, but in theory you shouldn't be really having much of a problem that early on anyway. But I do recommend it if you get stuck on the flag step. It's not really important, but it's just a helpful thing to have. The next thing I recommend, and this is a must, is a Phoenix up. You might see during this video that at one point during this Easter egg, all of my team at the very last step went down, and that's because they couldn't find one of these little white orbs to get a breath. Every single one of them died, and if I didn't have that Phoenix up, they would have all been dead, and that would have been horrific. It probably would have cost us the whole entire Easter egg. So the fact that I had that Phoenix up made such a difference, because all 3 of them got straight back up again, and they didn't lose any perks or any of their weapons or anything like that. They were perfectly fine. This is something you must take in with you, not just for that last step, but for other things as well. The flag step it's useful to have a Phoenix up on. the Shadowman boss fight, I'd even recommend having one of these. Seriously, taking a Phoenix up. I know a lot of people might say, what about the new one? The blue one. Is it, no, not Undead Man Walking. Near Death Experience, sorry. Yeah, Near Death Experience, I know a lot of people say is incredible, and believe me, I agree, it is incredible. But for this Easter egg, I wouldn't recommend it. Purely because you're not going to be around a lot of your other players, friends, whatever. So as a result, you're not going to be able to revive them with that very easily. And by the time you do get there, you could either die yourself or they're already dead. So just ignore that for this Easter egg and just put on a Phoenix up. Much better idea. Moving on, eye-wise, bloody hell, you must have this this little Gobblegum. It makes life so easy. For the flag step, this is a must. Eye-wise helps out so much because then you don't have all these freaking meatballs whacking into you. It also means that some of the players can actually concentrate on shooting the Shadowman at points. So seriously, get an Eye-wise, take it in with you, use it. You need it for that. It can also be useful if you are trying to do the Shadowman boss fight as well. Moving on, now the sharing points Gobblegum, and sorry I have completely forgotten the name of it, profit sharing or something. You don't have to have this one. The only reason why I recommend it is because number one, it is very helpful for all players to get quite a lot of points in this map. And when I would get this would be right at the beginning of the game when you're doing the rituals, because obviously you can get a lot of points from shooting a lot of the keepers and that while during like the ritual, and also when you finish the ritual you get some points anyhow, and then obviously for some of the rituals you get to kill a Magwa as well afterwards, which gives you a load of points. This is why I recommend getting this that early on, because it can be so helpful to get every player in the game set up with a load of points ready to go and buy all their perks, as well as all their weapons and things too. It really helps. We actually didn't end up using it in our Easter egg attempts, but seriously, it's a very worthwhile thing to take in, so I recommend it. Finally, Fear in the Headlights. This again is a must. You must have this freaking Gobblegum. It makes such a difference in this Easter egg. And again, as always, I'm going to keep going back to that flag step. This Gobblegum is a must for that flag step because literally you can put the flag down on the ground, use your Fear in the Headlights, and then boom, every single one of the meatballs, including the Shadowman here, is frozen. And it makes such a difference because then you don't have to worry about these meatballs hitting the flag, you don't have to worry about the Shadowman breaking the flag, and it also means that all your teammates can, including you, can shoot the meatballs and things too. And the good thing about a Fear in Headlights is it lasts exactly the right amount of time. As soon as you get to the last area with the flag, boom, you have quite literally used the whole of your Fear in the Headlights, and it's worked for the whole time. It's a very good idea to take it in. I honestly recommend it. The only other thing that I recommend is possibly a soda fountain or an unquenchable. That depends if you really need your perks early on, and that if you suffer with losing them quickly, then you could take one of those in. That's if you die a lot, but it's not something that I really recommend taking in. So there you go. The one thing I do not recommend you taking in is a Packaholic, and to be perfectly honest, I also don't recommend you taking a shopping free. You might think I'm mad when I say that, but you'll be amazed how quickly you can get all the doors open without a shopping free. So honestly, you don't really need it. You can take it in if you wish though. But anyway, with all that out of the way, that's all the prerequisites I have for this Easter egg. So now I'm going to move on to the first step of this Easter egg. And again, I did say this is going to be for advanced players and non-advanced players. So I am going to start off with all the rituals that you have at the very beginning of the game to access Pack-a-Punch. So we're going to start off with the first ritual, and I'm going to have a video which will go through exactly how to open up that area and get the ritual bits, and then actually doing the ritual itself. So anyway, I'm going to go on to the first step. So I'll see you in the first step. Okay, so the first step of this Easter egg, I'm going to be going through all the rituals and how to do them. So the first thing you need to do at spawn is somebody needs to lie down in front of the quick revive machine. Sorry about that. And you will get 100 points. They then need to go and open up the gate down the end there. And what you will need to do from here is somebody needs to become a Apophicon squid. Basically, you need to go up to one of the little urn things and basically turn into the squid. And once you do this, you will need to run along in the squid. Bear in mind, you are in a time mode, so make sure you do this all within the time, or else you'll have to find another one of these urns to use, and somebody else will have to do it. What you will need to do is you will need to hit the box first of all in the spawn, which is on one of the trucks. What this will do is it will open up the summoning key, so you can pick that up. You will then need to run out from there and electrocute the little crane out in the middle. And what this will do is it will drop the box which is containing the ritual item in it, so you can go and pick that up as well. Once you've done this and picked up those two things, or like one of your players has, make sure you also open up the top area, which you would have seen me do in this video, by going up there in a squid mode, grappling up and then walking along the side or through the room, it really doesn't matter, and then electrocuting the little box, which will obviously open up the staircase. And then once you have both of these parts, which is obviously the summoning key and the part for the ritual, you then just need to run upstairs into the little Nero area. That's basically Nero's place, and put your little ritual as well as the summoning key down on the sacrificial table. Once you do this, and make sure you have all 4 players in there if you want them to have points, but if you wanted to, you could always leave someone out while doing it. Not all of the characters have to be there. But once you do it, be ready for a ritual which will basically involve all of these keepers coming out and try to follow you and kill you. So what I recommend is that you do a train around the room, and be careful. Try not to obviously get killed, because if you get killed then it will reset it and you'll have to do the ritual again. But basically just try and do a little train around. If you're in there on your own like I was in this video, then it's quite easy, but with more people I recommend that 3 people sit on top of the staircase and 1 person trains around the room, just because then you get more space and it's much better. And just basically just don't die effectively, and once it's over you will know, because you'll hear the guy in the middle who's being sacrificed screaming, and then you'll see all the keepers disappear and you'll hear an explosion, and then once that happens this little worm will appear on top of the ritual table. One of the players, doesn't matter who it is, just needs to walk up to the table and pick up the worm, and then once you pick up the worm you'll see a symbol in the inventory showing who's picked it up. And that's all you need to do for this one. And obviously there are 3 others which I'm going to go through next. The only other thing that I wanted to cover here, because I didn't mention it, is when you do pick up one of the parts for each one of these, 2 keepers will always spawn. Okay, bear that in mind, because you can get snuck up on otherwise and killed if you're not paying attention. But yeah, literally you'll see here, and this is the best time to actually explain this, you'll see here as soon as I pick up this part in a minute, which is the little fountain pen actually, you'll notice that these 2 keepers will spawn in front of me. So here we go, pick it up, and there you go, there's the red portals and there's the 2 keepers spawning out. Just bear that in mind, you don't want to get snuck up on and killed by one of them. It's not really worth it. But anyway, that's the first ritual site. I'm now going to move on to the second ritual site, and then obviously the other 2. And just to enforce this again, this is the spawn room ritual site. Okay, so the second ritual site I'm going to go for, and I'm going to go through these in a specific order, but you can do it in any order you like, is the waterfront district, or the canal district, whatever you want to call it. And this is a rather interesting ritual to get open. So what you would really need to do, in my opinion, is if you follow my video, is open all the way up to the end here where the actual burlesque is, and go into the beast mode, and then grapple up to the top of the building where the burlesque is. Once you go inside the burlesque by grappling up there, run all the way down to the bottom and zap the little control panel next to the door. This will lower down the staircase so that you can obviously get in. And then after that, you need to go down into the actual water part, and you need to zap another control panel through a wall. It's a very obvious wall. And then you also need to go and whack it's basically whacking your tentacle at a little crate, but it's also covered up by a cage in the wall. And then what I also recommend you do is you whack this big massive metal door that's all barricaded up, mainly because you're going to need that later on for teleporting to places, so seriously do that as well. But if you follow the way I did it in my video here, then it should be really easy for you to do. Again, go and pick up the ritual part, and once you do pick up that ritual part, don't forget about the two keepers that will spawn in front of you, so bear that in mind too. Once you have all that dealt with, come back up to the burlesque and go up to the ritual site area, which is on the middle floor, and then literally just put the summoning key down as well as the ritual item, and the ritual will begin. Do your training and things, basically survive the ritual as normal. And what you must understand is obviously once you get the ritual done and you pick up the worm afterwards, a Magwa will spawn. The Magwa will always spawn, only one will spawn. It will always spawn either on the second ritual and also the fourth one. So it can spawn on the second and the fourth ritual basically. So bear that in mind, it will always happen. So be prepared for that. But anyway, that's it for this ritual, and what we will do now is we will move on to the next ritual, which is going to be the docks. Also, I wanted to add in here, if my voice sounds a bit deep and sort of destroyed, it's because I've got a very sore throat. So I apologise for that in advance. But anyway, we're going to move on to the docks now, so let's get on with it. Okay, so this is the third ritual, and this is down by the docks. What I recommend is you open up all the way down to basically the boxing gym area, and you use the ritual pillar that I did in the video at the beginning. And what you do is first of all run all the way down to the boxing gym and smash open the door. Once you do this, then backtrack up the little slope all the way back, grapple up to the top there and whack the box. This is where the ritual item is, so make sure you do this. And then also with the last bit of your little ritual squid ability, whatever you want to call it, go and whack the barricaded metal doors down that little alleyway, because again, this is a teleporter which will help you to teleport to different locations and is very important for later on in the Easter eggs, so make sure you do that. Once you pick up the little ritual part, again, remember the keepers, the two keepers that will spawn, so they're going to catch you out. And then make your way down to the boxing gym and place down your summoning key and your ritual item in the middle of the boxing gym in the little boxing arena area, and then it will start the ritual. Again, just make sure you survive the ritual, either train or have 3 people underneath in like the changing area, and then the other person training around the room. Also, once you finish, pick up the worm, and this time you won't keep a Magwa, or a Magwa won't spawn anyway, so you'll be okay after that. So that's all you need to do really, and make sure you do it like I've done it, and you should be perfectly fine, and it should be easy for you. Don't worry, by the way, about opening up all the perk machines and things like that. For now, you can do that later. It's much better to get all these ritual things done like this straight away, rather than fussing about with perk machines and that. You can deal with them later. Okay, right. Well, anyway, we've done this ritual, so I'm going to move on to the very last ritual and also the pack-a-punch ritual afterwards. And then we can finally get on to the main steps of the Easter egg, rather than just these little prerequisite almost bits to the Easter egg. That's what I classify them as, but they are part of the Easter egg. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the fourth step, so I'll see you over by the burlesque. Okay, so finally the last ritual site is over by the burlesque, and this is basically the little theatre area. And again, if you do as I do, which is open up all the way over to the theatre, and you use the little urn down by the theatre side, you can then quickly pull yourself up above the theatre and zap the little control panel, which will allow you to obviously go and open up the doors to that place. Then grapple yourself straight away across to your left, which will then take you straight through to where you can jump across to the little balcony area, where you can whack down the box for the little ritual part. And if you want, you can also open up the staircase for where the perk machine is during this time, which I recommend you do because it's useful for later on. Also, what I recommend you do is go down and in the little alleyway and whack open the barricaded metal doors, which will obviously open up the teleporter, which is really required later on in the Easter egg, so I recommend you do that. Again, once you pick up the little part for the ritual, you will get 2 keepers that will spawn, so bear that in mind. Then come over to the theatre, also known as the burlesque, and put down your ritual part as well as your summoning key on the stage on the ritual bit. You will see again that the guy will be there screaming, and it will be the ritual. Survive obviously through the ritual. Once it finishes, you'll see the last worm will spawn on the ritual table. As soon as you take this worm, what will happen is a Magwa even will spawn, and you will need to kill that. Like I said, the Magwa only spawns on the 2nd and 4th ritual, so do keep that in mind, just so you don't have any nasty surprises. And that's it really. Obviously do copy exactly what I do in the video here for doing all the opening and getting the parts and stuff like that, so make sure you do that. Otherwise, that's it. So now you've got all the worms and things. Now you're going to go down to a pack-a-punch area. There's like an underground area where you will basically put all these worms down for a pack-a-punch ritual so that you unlock pack-a-punch, and that is part of the Easter egg anyway. The one thing that I'm going to show you before we go on to that though is all the doors where the teleporters are, because it's a good idea for you guys that are not very familiar with the map, get some idea of where they are and what they look like and things like that. So there are 3 of them all together, and I will be going through each of them, and that will be it. And then obviously we'll move on to the pack-a-punch ritual straight away afterwards. So anyway, I'm going to show you the first teleport door now. Okay, so this is the portal over by the burlesque. I'm doing this one first as we just literally did the worm ritual for the burlesque. And literally, if you remember the staircase to where the perk is, if you just come to the left, instead of going up that staircase on the right that you open up, just come to the left, and then down this little alleyway where those big metal barricaded doors were. If you smash them open, you should notice this little room in here, and this big yellowy whitey light. Just walk up to the yellowy whitey light and use your interactive button of FX or square, and the portal should open up into a big orangey, blacky, starry portal. And this means that you've linked the portal to the burlesque area as well as the actual pack-a-punch area down underground. And obviously if you went through this, you would go straight through into the underground area where pack-a-punch is. But anyway, this is the burlesque one, so this is 1 out of 3. So I hope this is helpful for all the people that don't know where these are. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the docks one next, so I'll see you on that. Okay, so this is the docks portal. Again, this is literally right next to where you pick up the ritual part down by the docks. And if you just come down here to the right where I am, as you can see, again down the little alleyway on the right, you will see a portal. And yeah, again, just walk up to the little white yellowy light, use your interactive button of FX or square, and it will open up the portal for you. Also, bear in mind, as you would have seen in this clip here, when you do this, be careful not to get overrun by zombies or by a zombie in there, because it's a pretty tight spot and you don't want to get stuck in there, especially while you're waiting for a portal to open. But again, this now links the docks to the underground pack-a-punch area, so there you go. Anyway, that's the docks area, so I'm going to move on to the last portal, which is the canal district or waterfront, whatever you want to call it. I quite like calling it waterfront. But anyway, I'll call it canal for now. The canal area, I'm going to move on to that portal now. Okay, so this is the portal over by the canal district or the waterfront district. This is literally down in the canal area, and just literally down just past where the ritual item was that you got out of the crate earlier on. If you just walk through this metal barricaded door, you'll see the yellowy white light in there. Just walk up to it again, interactive button of FX or square. This will open up the portal, and you can see there is the portal, the orangey, darky portal. And there you go, that is all the portals now open up and initiated. And this obviously links the portal over by the canal district to the portal down in the pack-a-punch area. And now this means you've got all the portals linked up, and believe me, you will want to do this. This is incredibly useful and very, very important really later on, so well done if you have done it. Anyway, I'm now going to move on to the pack-a-punch ritual and what you have to do during that, and then after that we'll be moving on to the sword. So I'm going to move on to pack-a-punch first, so I will see you in the pack-a-punch ritual. Okay, so this is the pack-a-punch ritual. So as soon as you go through one of those portals, you will notice that some keepers will start to spawn in the room around you. Kill the keepers and just run over to this wall where all these symbols are. And what you should notice if you have all the worms by now is the wall will collapse down and open up another area, which is where pack-a-punch is. Walk up to these little urns, there are 4 of them in the corners of basically the area, and put the worms down. And also when you put down the worms, you'll notice 2 walls will build. Make sure you wall run across them. Be careful if there's a zombie or a keeper or even a like a meatball or anything on the other side while you're wall running, then it will cause you to fall off and die. So be careful while you're wall running, yeah? But as soon as you do this, put the other 2 worms down on the other side by the bridge area, and then go back to the little ritual table that you saw as soon as you came in, and put the summoning key down. What this will do is it will activate the pack-a-punch ritual, which is basically where all these keepers will start spawning in and try and attack you. Just survive in this pack-a-punch ritual, shoot a few if you want some points. And what you should notice by the end is that the Shadowman will appear floating in the middle sort of area by the bridge area, and he'll talk to you about how you basically caused an apocalypse and allowed him to control all the events that's going on in Shadows of Evil. So you basically given him the summoning key, which was a big mistake. Anyway, once you've done that, then you've done the pack-a-punch ritual. Well done. And this now means that you can move on to the sword stuff. Now, one other thing I want you to bear in mind is as soon as you finish that pack-a-punch ritual, a Magwa will spawn in, so do be careful of the Magwa and try not to get killed by it, obviously. So heads up on that. Otherwise, what you will need to do now is you will need to start doing the swords, and this will involve you going on a little tram to basically look at some symbols which will then allow you to zap a wall where you can get to the sword pedestals and pick out the egg that you will need to charge up for your sword. But anyway, I'll move on to that bit when we actually go to that part, which is coming up next. So I'm going to start off with the tram stuff first. Okay, so the first symbol I'm going to recommend you can get these in any order by the way, it doesn't have to be any particular order, is over by the canal district. If you walk up to the tram up there, make sure you call it first if it's not already there. And if you just stand on there and look straight in front of you, basically if you're looking to the left, then you're looking in the right direction. And until you see a little hole in the wall, which is rather red-like, demony light through a window usually, you should see a little symbol in there, as you should have seen here in this clip. There are 3 of these that you will need to get all together. This is the first one. The other 2 are down by the docks. But literally, if you just look to your left here, you will see a symbol in this building, as you can see there. What I recommend you do, because you will need to remember these symbols, is you take a picture of it. It would be a very good idea. If you've got a memory to be able to remember these symbols, then good on you. I definitely can't. I take a picture of them. You could draw them if that's what you want to do. It really doesn't matter. Choose what you wish to do, basically. But I would take a picture of them. But anyway, this is the first symbol. The other 2 symbols I'm going to show you in a minute are over by the docks area, or it's the easiest way to get them anyway. So I recommend that you go over to the docks area and call the tram over there if it's not already over there, and just take it from there. And I will explain to you precisely which directions you need to look in order to see both the other 2 symbols. But make sure you remember this symbol, yeah? Okay, moving on to the dock train part with the other 2 symbols then. Okay, so I'm taking the train from the docks here, and these are the last 2 symbols. So as soon as you come out on that train, make sure you look to the right and you will see through that window that you just saw there is one of your other symbols. That one's at an angle, so bear that in mind. The last symbol that you will need to look for when coming through here is actually on your left, so make sure you keep an eye on the left. I'm sorry, the right even. What am I saying? Keep an eye on the right again. Basically, just keep looking right, and you will see these symbols. Make sure you look right. Ignore me saying left there. That was a complete accidental mistake on my part. Keep looking right and you will see both of these other 2 symbols. Again, take a picture of them as quickly as you can and keep a note of them. As soon as you have all 3 of these symbols noted down, it's very important that you do note them down, or else you have to go back and do it again via the tram. You're going to be able to go into a Apophicon squid mode, the curse, and basically go and zap a wall, which will allow you to unlock the sword pedestal. One other thing that I would like to mention here is if you do accidentally mess up when zapping those symbols down by the sword pedestal, it will reset what you are doing. So basically all the symbols that you had will now have changed. So you won't have to go on the trams again and look on each direction to find out what the new symbols are. So try not to mess this up, alright? It is just costly and annoying if you mess it up. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the bit where you actually open up the walls so you can see where the pedestal is and stuff. So yeah, we're going to move on to that now. Okay, so once you've got all the symbols memorized, what you will need to do is come down to the Pack-a-Punch area, or just the area outside of Pack-a-Punch, and you will see this wall here. If you go into squid mode now, then you should be able to see all of these red little symbols all over the wall, and you will need to basically zap the correct symbols that you saw through all those windows. So this is why I said you need to remember these symbols. Once you figure out which symbols you have, then just zap them with your tentacle. You only have to zap 3, obviously. They don't have to be in any order at all. You can just zap them any order you like. And then once you zap them in the right order and you get the wall opened up, then it will mean that you will get the sword pedestal unlocked behind the wall. And what you will need to do is obviously come out of the squid mode if you're still in it, and just go down there as a normal person and pick up your egg from the pedestal. All 4 players will need to pick up an egg and do this if you're playing 4-player. Obviously, you should be, as it is a 4-player Easter egg. So all 4 players will need to pick up these eggs. It is very important that they do this, as you cannot really continue unless all 4 players do this. So seriously, make sure all 4 players have come down here and picked up their eggs, or else this is just not going to work. Once you picked up the egg, you'll get a little symbol on your UI which will show that you picked up an egg, and you will need to basically go and put this egg down on 4 pedestals, like little squiddy pedestals, which I will explain how to unlock and things. And then basically charge up the egg by killing zombies around it, and you need to do this for all 4, and then eventually you'll get a charged egg. But anyway, we'll move on to that later. For now, we're going to move on to the next part, which is basically me explaining how you put the egg on all the little pedestals. Anyway, let's move on to that. Okay, so the next step of the Easter egg, once you've got your egg from the sword pedestal, is to start putting the egg on these little Apophicon statue things. They basically look like a squid. What you will need to do first of all, which I haven't shown you in the video, so I apologise for that, is you will need to, in the Apophicon Squid Curse mode, walk up to these big boxes. Again, they're all chained up and look pretty obvious, and you will need to smash these while you're in the squid mode. So basically, when you walk up to one of these, then you use your knife to like melee things or whatever, you'll get your tentacle and smash down the box, and what should appear is a squid statue, basically. There are 4 of these all around the map. I will explain where each one is as we go through each of the parts of me charging up the egg, but for now I'm just going to describe this one. So the first pedestal that I recommend that you do your egg at, and I also want to say this here, I recommend everybody in the game chooses 1 statue each. So that way you then get nobody basically stealing somebody else's kills. If you have all 4 people in one spot, it's not a good idea because it takes forever for some people to do their eggs. And that way people get behind in the Easter egg steps, and you don't want that. So I advise each player to take 1 statue each and to just keep moving like that. If you have 2 people on a statue, then that's fine, that happens, but don't worry about it. Anyway, the first statue is down literally right outside the sword pedestal. So again, make sure you smash it open in the Apophicon squiddy mode. And literally all you have to do once you picked up your egg is walk up to the statue and interact with the statue, FX or square, and it will place your egg down. You should notice your egg on the pedestal by now. It will be on one of the tentacle arms. What you will need to do is kill zombies around it. As you can see in this video here, for example, when you kill a zombie, you'll see a big white blue soul go into this egg, which is going into the egg constantly. I believe, according to my brain here, that you need 10 or possibly 15, I can't remember precisely, zombie kills. And eventually what should happen is you will see your egg glow all white, which indicates that it's done. It's finished basically, and what you just need to do then is pick up the egg and move on to the next pedestal, and you just need to do this 4 times, and then obviously on the 4th time when you picked up your egg, you won't be moving onto a pedestal, you'll be moving onto a place where you can hand over your egg. But I'll get onto that when we get to the 4th one. But anyway, here is obviously the first one. Like I'm saying, make sure you kill zombies around it. Make sure the zombies are near the pedestal. If they're too far away, the kill won't count. So make sure they're near it. And yeah, that's literally all there is to this step, really. You just need to do that here. This is down in the Pack-a-Punch area, in case you're unaware of where you are. And I will move on to the next soul pedestal now. And again, I will describe where all of them are for you. Right, so we'll move on to the next one now. Okay, So from now on, I just want to make this clear that I am no longer going to be showing you me killing zombies around the rest of these pedestals, or I don't really plan to anyway, as it just takes up time in the video and I don't want to do that. So I apologise for that in advance, but it is in order to keep the video shorter for you guys. Anyway, this is the next pedestal. This is over by the Canal District. This is literally right at the far end, just to the right of the burlesque, to the right of the oh god, the building where the ritual is. So literally just go to the right of that, and you should see, if you haven't already unlocked it, a big massive metal box. Again, go into the squid mode and just smash this with your tentacle, and then you should find the statue, as you can see here. And then all you need to do is put your egg on the statue, and again kill 10 or 15 zombies around it, and eventually when you're done, what you should notice, like you do here in this video, is that the egg on the pedestal will be all white, and then you can pick it up. And I did forget to mention this at the beginning, but I'm going to mention it now. Every time that you finish one of these, you'll notice that the egg icon on your screen, your HUD, will start changing colour a bit, and this is just to indicate how charged it is in case you get lost. But anyway, that's this pedestal. I'm now going to move on to the docks, and then we'll move on to the burlesque area. So I've seen the dock one. Okay, so this is the egg soul statue for the docks area. Now this one's in a slightly more hidden spot, so I'm going to try and explain this to you as best as possible. So basically, by now you should have had all the perk areas, or the perk machine areas, open up on all the areas of the map. What you will need to do is come all the way through the perk machine area down by the docks, which is up this little staircase if you didn't know, and just keep going straight forward past the perk machine. And if you haven't already, you will see a big metal cabinet box. Again, go into the squid mode and smash this with your tentacle, and you will get the little statue of the Apophicon squid. And then all you need to do is walk up to the statue. Again, put your egg on it. Again, kill 10 or 15 zombies around this thing, and then eventually you should see your egg will be going white, and then you can pick it up, and you've done that one. Again, obviously, keep an eye on the HUD. It will tell you how close you are to finishing your egg, in case you get stuck and you don't know whereabouts you are on your egg in its progress. So anyway, that's it for the dock area. Be careful in this room. The zombies do come from multiple areas, so careful while you're in here. Also, I wanted to just add here, if you're trying to do it on a parasite round or a Magwa's neither of those, and the meatballs actually, neither of those enemies count as souls, so don't bother killing them near these statues because it won't do anything. It's only zombies. Right, anyway, we're going to move on to the last egg pedestal now, and then I will explain what happens after that. Okay, so the last egg pedestal, and I'm sorry this is not the best angle, the last egg pedestal is over by the burlesque area, and this is literally just underneath the little area where the perk machine would be, which is above this area. So if you're running towards the burlesque and you go to the right, you will notice obviously the staircase which you would normally take to go to the perk machine. Instead of going up that staircase, just keep going straight, and again, if you haven't already, you'll notice a big metal box. So if you haven't smashed that open, then smash it open by going into the Apophicon squid mode and then smashing it with your tentacle. And then obviously you'll notice the statue of the Apophicon there. So all you need to do is place your egg down on this little Apophicon statue, and again kill 10 or 15 zombies around it. And eventually what should happen is you should get a white egg, and then you should by this point have finished your egg, and that will be it. You would have done all the egg pedestals by now if that's what you're doing. And you don't have to do these in any particular order, like I kind of sort of said at the beginning. So I do advise each person to take one of these statues at a time and make this process a lot faster, believe me. But anyway, now we've got that out of the way, what you will be doing is you'll be handing your egg over to a keeper. and this will be a keeper ghost. And there are 4 of them for each character. You have a specific place to go to hand over your egg. I will explain that in the next bit when I show you me handing over my egg, and I will explain where the other characters' locations are as well, just so that helps you out. But I'm going to move on to me handing over the egg to the actual keeper now, and then I'll explain the rest from there. Okay, so once you've done all the eggs and you filled up your eggs completely by doing all the statue rituals, you will need to come back down to the sword pedestal from earlier on and interact with it by FX or square. And what this will do is this will put the egg inside a sword, and then what this will also allow you to do is get the first sword. This is the non-upgraded sword, and basically it's pretty useful. And it's quite useful to have for anything really, but this will allow you to get the first sword, of course, so make sure you pick this up because you will need to in order to carry on with the rest of the Easter egg. Once you picked up this first sword, what you will need to do next is you will need to find your place where your keeper is, and it's pretty obvious, by the way, because only one person can see their keeper, which means if, for example, I was the Jessica, the female, and I went to the docks as an example, I wouldn't see the keeper ghost down there because it isn't mine. But obviously the person who is down there, i.e. the boxer, would see the ghost down there. So he would see that. And it's the same for all the characters basically. But I'm going to show you giving me giving the picking up the egg really for the upgrade of the sword next, and explaining where you need to go for that for all the characters as well. So I'm going to move on to that now. Okay, so once you picked up your first sword, what you will need to do is you will need to come up to a ghost keeper, and these are located in the 4 ritual areas from earlier on, if you remember when we opened up Pack-a-Punch. And I'm going to describe where each person's place is now. So Nero, the magician's area, is over in Spawn, and that was literally just up top, in the building upstairs in his little place. If you're Nero, you should see a weird ghost keeper above the ritual table. Just walk up to that and interact with the keeper with FX or square, and you should obviously get the upgraded egg given to you. If you are the boxer, you will be down by the docks, i.e. the boxing gym, and all you need to do for that is to just go on down there into the boxing gym. And again, there should be a keeper there. Interact with the keeper, FX or square, and you'll pick up your upgrade egg. If you are Jessica, like I was here, then you will need to come over to the burlesque, and again go in there to the upgrade table, the ritual table even, and pick up your egg, the upgrade egg, FX or square again. And then finally, if you are the cop, you will need to go over to the canal district and go into that building where you can then pick up the upgrade egg with FX or square again. And what this means is you're now starting your upgrade to the upgraded sword. So you again need to keep an eye on that little HUD icon of the egg, which will tell you how charged it is. And what we will need to do now is we need to take this egg, each character needs to do this, to 4 locations around the map and place it down on the ground. And what this will do as soon as you start it, as you can see here, is it will spawn in a Magwa or more Magwas later on. And what you will need to do is kill the Magwa, 4 Magwas, and then it will have your egg upgraded a little bit each time. Now I want to quickly explain some things here in regards to this. Number 1, in order to do these upgrade things with the eggs, you will need to place them on the ground where there's a big large red symbol. Sometimes that will be glowing, sometimes it won't be. I think it's just a glitch, which is a bit annoying. But basically you just need to walk up to this little circle on the ground in each area. I will explain where they are in each area, and use your interactive button FX or square, and it will place down your egg. which will then start the ritual. Now, the next thing you need to know is the Magwas will only attack and chase the player that has placed down their egg. All the other players will be ignored by the Magwas, so you don't have to worry about being attacked by Magwas if you're other players. But this is where a little tip from me comes in. If you place down the egg, get the other players to kill the Magwas for you. Basically, the reason I say this is because if you die during this, you will have to do this ritual again and again and again, and it's not really worth constantly having to do it again and again and again. If you could just get your teammates to do it for you, who aren't going to get hit by the Magwas, it's very helpful to do this. We did this on multiple occasions as well. If you feel confident enough, like I do in this, and later on to kill the Magwas yourself, then obviously do it yourself, but I recommend that you get other people in your team to help you out with this. The next thing you need to know is you can only do a ritual per round, which means that, for example, in this part here where I put down my egg in this round, on round 12, once that's finished, I cannot place my egg down in one of the other locations until the next round, so round 13 and vice versa. This is the same for each character. However, each person can place the egg down once during a round, which means if I place my egg down here like I did right now in round 12, somebody else could also place their egg down here or somewhere else if they wanted to. It doesn't really matter. So you can place your eggs down literally wherever you please. But obviously, again, it's once per round, so bear that in mind. Otherwise, that's really it for this. Obviously, this first egg ritual location for the Magwa spawning is literally just outside the Basilisk. And again, the Magwa will spawn. Make sure you kill it. Once you killed it, you will notice that the egg icon is slightly filled up and charged now. And then you can move on with the round and then go and do your next one. And you basically have to do this 4 times, and eventually what this will do is this will move you on to the next step. I'm going to now go through the other locations of where these little circles are on the ground, and then you will basically be ready for your next step. So I'm going to go on with the next one right now. Okay, so the second Magwa spot I'm going to go for is the spawn area, and again you can do these in any order you like. And what you will do is you'll come out right into the middle of where the spawn area is. So as soon as you open up the first area at the beginning of the game, you'll see a big round symbol on the floor. All you have to do is stand in that round symbol, interact with it, FX or square, and then you'll place your egg down ready for the ritual. And what this will do from now on, bear this in mind, you will see 2 or more Magwas spawn. So this will spawn 2 Magwas straight away for you. And again, just kill the Magwas and don't die, or else you have to restart the process again. But make sure you have your friends around to really kill the Magwas and make this so much easier, trust me. Otherwise you could kill them yourself if you're feeling confident. But anyhow, yeah, just kill the Magwas, and that's really it. And then what you should see at the end is a little HUD icon of your egg being slightly more charged than before. But yeah, there you go, it's the second area. And again, make sure you wait around before you do the next little circle on the floor. And yeah, that'll be that. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next symbol location, which is in my video going to be the docks, so I'll move on to that. Okay, so this is the next location I'm going to be showing you, which is down by the docks, and literally this circle is literally right outside the boxing gym. So again, just walk down here and use your interactive button, FX or square, and this will place down the egg, and then what you will see is 2 or possibly more Magwas will spawn. And again, just kill them, and then you would have done this correctly, and that'll be the end of this step. Now, obviously, bear in mind that the charging of the egg will always pop up on the screen, so you want to keep an eye on that, and it will tell you how far you've done things, so remember that. And in this part, we obviously still have one more place to go, which I'm going to show you next. But yeah, we're getting there really. The other thing I want to warn people about here is be careful in particular by the docks to not get cornered around somewhere, and also be very careful of the parasites. You'd be surprised how many people go down to the parasites rather than the Magwas in the end, and that's never a good thing. So keep an eye on the parasites in particular. You can kill them obviously if you wish. Just keep an eye on them. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the very last location, and then we're going to move on to the next step after that. Okay, so the last Magwa location is obviously over by the canal district, and literally this is right outside the building where you normally do the ritual. You'll see a big circle on the ground. Again, walk up to it, press FX or square, and you will place down your egg. And again, kill the Magwas. There may possibly be 3 when you get to the last spot, by the way, so bear that in mind. In the case here, it was actually 2, but I have seen it before where you get 3 sometimes. And literally just kill the Magwas. And then what you should notice at the end of this one is that your little HUD will show up a completely orange egg. And what this means is you've completely charged up the egg, and you finished the upgrade process. So what you will need to do next is you'll need to go and find your keeper that you found earlier to get the egg from. So in the case of Jessica, that'll be over by the burlesque, and then what they need to do with her, which you will see in a minute, is walk in there, walk up to the keeper. The keeper will be holding a sword, and then literally just interact with the keeper, and I will get the upgraded sword from that. And it's literally that simple. So yeah, just bear in mind all the Magwas that can spawn. Bear in mind that you can have mates helping you out with this. And yeah, just really the whole of this step, you just got to be careful where you're walking, really. Just be careful not to walk into a zombie that you kept alive. Be careful not to get hit by too many parasites. And be careful not to get trapped by Magwas or walk into the Magwas by accident. It's basically all just about taking your time and being careful of this whole entire step here. If you can do that, you'll be perfectly fine. And if you've obviously got a powerful weapon, like I've got the ray gun, then that really helps against Magwas. So literally, just be careful while you're doing things, and then you'll be absolutely fine with this step. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to move on to quickly grabbing the sword, and then we're going to move on to the step after that, which is where it gets a lot harder. Okay, so this is literally just me coming back to the burlesque as Jessica to come and pick up the upgraded sword. As you can see, the keeper is holding a sword now, and then just interact with the keeper, and there you go, you picked up the upgraded sword. So now you should have an upgraded sword. And again, if you're any of the other characters, then the cop needs to go over to the canal district area where the ritual place is to pick up his sword. The boxer needs to go to the boxing gym to pick up his sword. And then Nero needs to go to the spawn area in order to pick up his sword. Make sure everyone has the upgraded sword, because you cannot start the next step until everyone has an upgraded sword. And this is just the way it works. As soon as everyone has an upgraded sword, you're set for the next step. So please bear that in mind. Everyone must have an upgraded sword for this next step to work. If they don't, then you will not be able to start the next step until everyone has an upgraded sword. Okay? Right, with that out of the way, I'm going to move on to the next step. And I'm going to explain a few things in the next step because it can be quite difficult. Okay. So the first thing you will need to do once everyone has the upgraded sword is someone, it doesn't matter who it is, needs to go to the spawn and come up to Nero's workshop and look at a book on the floor over by the bookshelf and interact with it with FX or square. What you should notice is this book will float up in the air, and then it will start producing a load of weird purpley particle effects and stuff around it. This is literally required in order to start the flag step, which is the bit you're about to do. Because if you don't do this, you will not be able to get the flag. So don't forget about this book. You'll be amazed how many people forget about this book, including me sometimes. Seriously, don't forget the book. But literally, while we're here, I want to explain a few things with the flag step. Okay, so the flag step, you will have to obviously pick up a flag down there. You will need to run and place the flag in 3 different places. And what you'll be doing is you'll be taking this flag to each of the ritual sites. So Nero's workshop, the canal area, the boxing gym, and then also over to the burlesque. And what you will be doing is each one of these you will be placing the flag down in a little spot, and you'll be doing that 3 times, and you have to defend the flag from a load of meatballs as well as parasites and also the Shadowman attacking the flag. Now this is actually really quite difficult. This is the only step in my opinion that makes this Easter egg hard at all, is this flag step. It is incredibly difficult. So seriously, listen up. Okay, so first of all, I honestly recommend at this point that at least one person has a fear in the headlights for this step. It will make your life so much easier. As soon as you get that flag in the first spot, activate that fear in the headlights and everything will freeze. It will make your life so easy when doing this step. If at any point you run out of fear in the headlights, use an idle eyes. It will help out because then the meatballs won't hit the players and cause them to go down. So seriously, I would honestly recommend you take both of them, but use them wisely, obviously. The other thing or the other 2 things really that can be useful is the Apothicon Servant. If somebody has that, that would always be a useful thing to shoot and get all the meatballs sucked up into it and stuff. It's very helpful, in fact. It's just a bit limited on ammo. And the other thing is little Arnies, which can also be incredibly helpful. And if you upgrade them as well, then it will make them even more useful for this step. But you obviously don't have to do that. The only other thing I wanted to mention here before we move on to the flag step is the fact that you really need to be careful with ammo. So yes, even though you get a max ammo after each spot that you place the flag, pretty much if you defend it well, and also when you finish it, bear in mind that you will be continuing a wave most likely straight away afterwards, which means you will go through ammo pretty quickly, I reckon. Which means you'll be running out of ammo, which is why I recommended at the beginning of this video that you take in a cache back. Because believe me, you are not going to be able to do this step with no ammo. You will need to get some ammo. So if you can get a cache back at some point to give yourself some more ammo, that would be great. And you'll be all set. Also, I wanted to add in here that you can only do a flag ritual sites, I'll call it that, per wave. So it's a bit like the last step where you could only place your egg down once per wave. This is the same here. It applies again with the flag step. You can only take the flag and place it down in one of the areas. So let's take the example of Nero's area, his little workshop. You could only do that during the one wave, and then you would have to start the next wave before you could do, for example, the cops area. You have to do that, so you can't do all the flags in one wave. So bear that in mind. It's very important. Otherwise, we're going to leave it here, and I'm going to start off with each of the flag steps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and explain it as well as possible going through the flag steps to try and make your lives as easy as possible when doing these flag steps, because believe me, it's not easy. So I will do my best to explain it as well as I can. Anyway, we're going to move on to the first flag spot. Okay, so this is the first flag step I'm going to show you, which is actually the Nero workshop area that we're taking it to first here. So I'm going to show you this one first. What you will need to do in order to pick up the flag is you will need to go down to where the pack punch area is, and literally just in front of Widow's Wine, kind of, you will see this flag on the ground, and all you have to do is, when you're ready, make sure you're ready, walk into it and hold square, and what this will do is the person who did that will be carrying a flag with them everywhere. What you will then see immediately is a load of meatballs, parasites, spawn in the map. be careful, as if you get a lot of meatballs hitting the person with the flag will break, which will cause a lot of issues, and you have to start that thing with the picking up the flag and that all over again. But anyway, once you do that, take your little route out of the Pack-a-Punch area by walking up the staircase, in this case, all the way up to the top where Stamina Up is, place the flag down there, defend it against the meatballs, the parasites, and for the love of God, don't miss the Shadowman. He will pop up every once in a while, shoot him. If you miss him, he will either blow up the flag, or if you're really lucky, and believe me, I'm saying this in a light-hearted way, if you are lucky, it will not blow up the flag, but just cause you to lose your max ammo. Instead, you won't get that after completing your flag ritual. So be careful, alright? Be very, very careful. And what you will need to do is defend this flag, okay? So just shoot all these things. And I wanted to point out here, if there are too many meatballs that hit the flag, or too many parasites that shoot the flag, or the Shadowman gets his hands all over it or whatever, it will break, and then you will have to repeat the process again. So try and not let that happen, alright? It's not pleasant, especially when you run out of ammo. The other thing that I want to point out here is if you look at the way I'm doing it here, you will notice that I'm the one that's always carrying the flag. It's better if you have one person who likes to carry the flag all the time rather than multiple people. Also, I knew where I was going, which did help too. The other thing I wanted to point out is me activating Fear in the Headlights, as you could see here in this gameplay, makes a big difference because everything is frozen, and this helps a lot. This also helps with the Shadowman as well as the meatballs in particular, and it just makes such a difference. So seriously, use your Fear in the Headlights. It will make this step so much easier than it honestly is. Because believe me, this step is really difficult. And I'm not saying that lightly. It really is hard. And you don't want to really screw it up because it means you've got to go through all the other steps that you did earlier again. And that's not fun. But yeah, Lucci, if you've got a Fear in the Headlights and you defend it like we're doing here, you'll be fine. I advise you also while I'm here to have one person who is constantly looking for the Shadowman at all times. So in this case, it was actually me who was really looking out for the Shadowman. Obviously, I had to keep looking around because I needed to freeze the meatballs and parasites. But if you could have somebody that keeps an eye out for the Shadowman and just shoots him when they see him, that would be brilliant. And then everyone else takes out the meatballs and the parasites. It would make a lot of sense to do that, really. So just try and do that if possible. Also, I want to point out that the Apothicon Servant and the Little Armies do not work on the Shadowman. So if you thought you were going to do that, that won't work. So don't try and make it work, alright? It won't happen. The other thing I wanted to point out here is as soon as you've done one of these flags, and you get it to the very end there, like we did with Nero's place, be careful. Basically, a Magwa will spawn, so be ready to kill that. And then obviously when you finish that, if you're in the middle of a wave, all the zombies will spawn around you, so be ready. You don't want to get killed for no apparent reason. But anyway, this is literally how the flag steps work. If you can do it the way that we're doing it, like I've been telling you and things, then you'll be fine. You should be set for this step. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the other 3 spots that you need to take this flag to, and explain those as well. And I'm going in quite a lot of depth here in this flag step part because it really is quite difficult, and I want people to try and get some grip on how to do this without failing all the time. Because believe me, I used to fail this all the bloody time, especially when Fear in the Headlights didn't exist. That used to drive me nuts. It was really difficult back then to do this Easter egg without Fear in the Headlights because of this step. God. It's like a grace having that Gobblegum now. But anyway, so I'm probably going to move on to the next step. Again, I just wanted to make sure that you guys know this, that you can obviously only do the flag step once per round, so do bear that in mind. Okay, right. Anyhow, we're going to move on to the next step, which is going to be the canals area, and I'll show you the flag there. Right, so this is the flag going to the canal area. Now this is where I recommend people start taking the portals around the place, and this is in particular why I recommended you get these opened up earlier anyway, because this will make your life so much easier. It will also make it so much faster. So again, take the flag through the portal, come all the way back here to the entrance to the canal district, and place the flag down right on the little purple spot on the ground. Again, I recommend someone that has a fear in the headlights. So in this case, it was one of my other teammates. He had a fear in the headlights out and he was using that, while the rest of us were shooting at the meatballs and the parasites. And the person who had the fear in the headlights was the person who was actually looking out for the Shadowman as well. Which is why in this case, in this gameplay, you can see that I am not looking out for the Shadowman. I'm obviously still the flag carrier in this because I know where to take the flag, which is why I volunteered to do it. You only need to do 3 spots for each flag area, alright? And sometimes the flag can be a bit dodgy and not want to go in the ground and just be a bit of a pain in the arse. Just bear with it, just keep spamming your interactive button FX or square, and eventually the flag will go in the ground. I promise you, it will go in the ground. It can just take some time to get it in the bloody ground, and yeah, do bear that in mind. But anyhow, as you can see, same as before, fear in the headlights, everyone shoots the meatballs and that, and then just take the flag to each of the spots. Once you're done with the flag spot there, just take it upstairs to the ritual area and just walk up to the thing. I did forget to mention in the last part that you can just walk up to these ritual altars here where the keepers are, and the flag will instantly put itself down. You don't have to actually put it down yourself. So yeah, just thought I'd let you know that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about briefly in this part was I decided to leave a little bit of the Magwa spawning in at the end there for you, just to show you that the Magwas do spawn in as soon as you finish the flag step, so do be careful. I wanted to make sure that people understood that they really do spawn in quite quickly, but that's the issue all there is to it. Anyhow, that's all I've really got for this step, so I'm going to move on to the next step, which will be the docks, and then finally we'll finish off with the burlesque. Okay, so this is the docks area for the flag. Again, pick up the flag, walk straight through the portal at the top of the stairs towards the docks. Ignore the first purple lightning spot that you see, you will come back to that later. Go straight to the entrance that you will normally take to get to the docks, and you'll see another purple lightning spot on the ground. Put the flag down and you will see the flag down there. The other thing that was a bit annoying for me is, even though I was the fear in the headlights person here, I didn't actually know precisely where the Shadowman spawned over by the docks. I'm not very familiar with that, so it was a bit annoying for me to try and find him all the time. But in the end, I had my other teammates constantly looking around to try and shoot him as well. But also it was a bit of a difficult spot, the docks, due to it being quite small, and it does make a difference. But as you can see there, because we didn't know where the Shadowman was, he made us lose our max ammo as a result, and that's not what we really want. So try and learn where he spawns. He usually seems to spawn, from what I saw, behind where I was standing, so the little alleyway where the zombies can spawn from. He tends to spawn there, so bear that in mind. But anyhow, if you just bring it through to the next spot, which is down here, just outside the portal, then that would be great. And you just, again, kill the parasites and the meatballs, and of course stop the Shadowman from trying to destroy the flag. Once you've done this, obviously run all the way down to the bottom. Now, this is where we get something new coming into the flag step. You might have seen there in the video a big purple symbol on the ground. For the love of God, don't step in that. If you step in that purple symbol, the flag will break instantly and it will kill you quite badly. Just ignore the purple symbol. Try and walk around it, okay? Because if you don't, it's going to hurt and it's going to destroy the flag. And it's not a good thing to have happen to you. So do be careful with the purple symbol on the ground. Try and ignore it as best as you can. by maneuvering around it. It's not too difficult to maneuver around, but just try and do that and you'll be fine. We were very lucky actually with this step to get a max ammo at the end when we got to the end, because if we didn't, we would have been a bit screwed. But we did, and that was very, very lucky, to be honest. But anyhow, this is the docks area for the flag, and I can't give you much more advice than that, I'm afraid, other than the Shadowman spawns in some pretty strange spots down here by the docks. So just keep an eye out for him, really, and obviously beware of the purple symbol on the ground. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the very last spot, which is down by the oh god, the burlesque, and then after that we can move on to the next step. So I'm going to move on to the burlesque. Okay, so this is the very last flag step spot, and this is over by the burlesque. Now again, take the portal on the far side of the pack-a-punch area to get over to the burlesque, and literally your first spot to put it down is actually right in front of you pretty much as soon as you come out of that portal. So place it down here, again use the fear in the headlights and just shoot any of the parasites, meatballs and the Shadowman if you see him as well. If you shoot all them, you should be perfectly fine. The only thing I wanted to mention here is this is where it gets a little close quarters with these two flag steps that I'm doing last here, which is obviously the docks and the burlesque. You get some pretty close quartered areas, so be careful. You don't really want to get trapped in any way, shape or form there. And this spot that we're coming up to now is particularly nasty, and the reason it's particularly nasty is because of the spots where the meatballs spawn and also where the Shadowman spawns. So the meatballs will spawn practically right next to where I am standing, and they'll spawn on the right. And as for the Shadowman, he spawns in pretty much every single spot. There's no definite area, if you like, where he actually spawns, the Shadowman. He will literally spawn in any area possible. I've never found patterns where he spawns here, and it's been dreadful. He just spawns anywhere. So I can't give you a definite answer for that. Also, when you try and pick up the flag from this spot, it tends to not want to pick it up for a good couple of seconds. I don't know why, it's probably a glitch, but it's very annoying. Again, once you're done with that, bring it down to this keeper at the end here, and you will see the keeper will come along, and that'll be it. Also, what you're seeing in the video there with the ghost of the keeper is a glitch. It's a texture glitch, and the ghost keeper shouldn't actually be there. So I'm sorry about that, but there shouldn't be a keeper there afterwards when they're obviously you put the flag down, and that'll be it. But anyway, now you've done all the flag steps, so you can move on to the next part, which is actually trapping the Shadowman in the summoning key. So yeah, we're going to move on to that now. Okay, so this is the Shadowman boss fight. If you made it this far, congratulations, you're doing incredibly well, and you only have this step and one step afterwards until you finish the Easter egg. Now this step with the Shadowman boss fight. What you will need to do to start this off is you will need all 4 players to come down to the pack-a-punch area, and where you placed the gate worms earlier on, there should now be some keepers above them. If you walk up to each keeper, each person walks up to a keeper and holds square or FX or whatever interactive button you're playing with, then it will make the keeper shoot a beam of red light towards the Shadowman, and it will get rid of his shield that he has up. And once this happens, he is obviously vulnerable to being shot at. And what he will do is he will start moving around the room. What you need to do is you need to shoot him, and shoot him a lot. So as you can see here, it's a perfect example. There you go, they shot them now, and there you go, we now shoot the Shadowman while he moves around. He moves around all over the place, by the way, so be prepared for that. And you kind of need everybody to be shooting the Shadowman for this to work. As you can see there, this is why I included these, by the way. There were some examples there too, where the other guys on my team were not shooting at the Shadowman as well at the same time, which obviously made a big difference, because obviously I couldn't do it all on my own along with my other team member. It just wasn't really possible, So as a result, we didn't manage to get him fast enough. But as all of us were shooting him in the end, we managed to get him very easily. So if you could just do that, and then you'll be able to get him. And literally, you just have to keep shooting him until he goes right back onto that ritual table near the entrance to the Pack-a-Punch area. And then once he's right on top of that, make sure you have someone there, make sure there is someone there, to use the interactive button of FX or square on that summoning table, and literally you will trap the Shadowman in the summoning key. But make sure you have that. Anyway, the other thing that I wanted to say is you will get a max ammo each time you deactivate his shields, if you don't manage to get him each time as well. And this means that you will not run out of ammo anytime soon most of the time. The other thing that I had to talk about here in particular for all of you guys out there, this is very important, keep an eye out on the keepers. They can sort of deactivate, if you like, during a Shadowman attacking round. And you can tell they deactivate when they have a load of purple mist around them. So literally keep an eye out. And if you see that on a keeper, immediately walk up to it and hold square if you can, because then that means that the ability to keep shooting at the Shadowman will carry on, and that will be really, really helpful. Obviously, you're going to have Magwas and things spawning in, so don't do anything too stupid. Just be careful. The last thing I wanted to say here is that the entrance to the Pack-a-Punch, once you start this, will be blocked off, which means if you want to try and escape, you can't. You will not be escaping this Shadowman ritual. So until you kill him, you will not be able to leave this room. So bear that in mind. When you do kill him, you will notice his body will start blowing up and going into the summoning key. But you will also notice, if you're doing this Easter egg with 4 players, a big ginormous gate worm, a huge ginormous gate worm actually, will spawn on top of that table. And what it will do is it will spawn there and then it will disappear. What you will need to do is grab the summoning key from that table straight away afterwards. So make sure you do that. And once you've done this bit, you'll be on to the last step. Now, the last step is quite complicated, okay? I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can. And the other thing that I have to stress here with the last step is, unfortunately, because of the way it works with 4 players, I didn't manage to get the best clips of certain parts that are quite important, I'm afraid. But I've got some clips of some sort, and I will go through them and explain them as best as possible so that you guys understand. But just bear it in mind that they aren't all the best clips in the world, but they're reasonable. But again, I will explain it as best as I can to you. It is a complicated bit, the last step of this Easter egg, so you will have to bear with me a little bit even, while I am explaining it to you. And I'm sorry if it takes quite a while, this last bit that I'm going through, but it's better that it takes a while and you understand it rather than just not understanding it at all. So I'm going to move on to the last step now, and I'm going to explain it in a lot of detail. So I'll move on to that now. Okay, so now we're moving on to the last step of this Easter egg, and this is where things get very complicated. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you as best as I can. This might be a little long, so I apologize for that in advance. Okay, so the first thing I want to explain is what you're seeing on the screen right now, and that is the weird purpley pinky effect that you will see on your screen if you are low on breath. Now, this will only appear as soon as you finish that as soon as you finish the Shadowman ritual and pick up the summoning key. As soon as you pick up that summoning key, you will start seeing this on your screen. What you will need to do is you will need to find a little white orb around the map. There are loads of them that spawn at once around the map. Find one, run into it as quickly as possible, and this should take the stuff off your screen. But you're going to have to keep doing this, I'm afraid, until you complete this final step. And basically, if you don't run into one of these, you're going to go down. You're going to die, basically. And what happened to us actually in our game is I ran into this white orb here. Everyone else ran off somewhere else in the map, and they all died. All three of my other teammates went down instantly, and I had to use that Phoenix stuff I had there to get them all up again. And believe me, it was a very scary moment when that happened. It was not nice at all. So seriously, basically just don't miss these white orbs. If you miss them, you're dead. Don't do it. As soon as you see the stuff on your screen, you should run straight to a white orb immediately, or else you will die. Okay, so with that out of the way, I want to get on to the next bit. The next bit is being able to become a squid, and believe me, you're going to need to become a squid in this, or else you can't do this step. Basically, in order to become a squid, you have to kill a Magwa. All the enemies in this map now will be purple-headed Magwas at this point. There will be no zombies or anything like that. It will just be purple-headed Magwas. Kill a purple-headed Magwa, just one of them. It doesn't matter which one. Just kill one, and this will eventually give you a little altar chance. So you know the little altars that you normally walk up to and interact with to become a squid. This will now allow you to interact with one of them so you can become a squid. Once you become a squid, you will not be on a timer like usual. There will be no timer this time. The way you lose this squid mode is if you get hit a lot by the purple-headed Magwas. They will now come after you while you're in your squid mode, so be careful. Basically, if you get hit enough while you're in that squid mode, it will transform you back into a human again, and you will need to go and kill another purple-headed Magwa, so you'll be able to become a squid again. So just try and avoid the Magwas when you're in the squid mode, it'll be much easier. You can also whack them with your tentacles, of course, and it hurts them. The next thing that's very important here is everyone except for one person needs to become a squid straight away, basically. And each person is going to go in their own different direction for the last part here. So, for example, in our game, I stayed as a human before becoming a squid later on, which I will explain. And I went over to the canal area. I then had another team member who went over to the dock area, another team member who went over to the burlesque area, and finally we have one team member who was in the middle of the map, which is just sort of outside Nero's place. Now, what you will need to do with each of the three characters who's not in the middle of the map is two of them need to become squids immediately and basically run over to the two trams, or where the tram location where you would get on it normally is. And you will notice some little electrical boxes. Don't worry, I am going to show you a little clip of each electric box in a minute. And what you will need to do while you're in that mode is, once everyone's ready, and you will need to communicate here, they will need to electrocute or zap, whatever you want to call it, the little metal box. And when you zap this metal box, you can tell if you're zapping it correctly, because the rail lines will become turquoise colour. If they are not turquoise colour, this means that you are not zapping them correctly, and you are not zapping the box. So keep an eye on the rail tracks to tell if you're doing it correctly or not. Again, you will see that later on. So two people will need to do that. One person will need to be a human for the time being, and I'm going to come back to that person at the end because they're very important. The other person who's in the middle of the map will need to be a squid as well, and what they will do is they will jump into the middle area where all the water is, and where the crane was, where you pick up one of the ritual parts for Nero's bit at the beginning of the game. And what you should notice there is a giant worm, a gate worm that you saw earlier, and also 3 keepers. What this person will need to do is they will need to electrocute all 3 keepers, or zap them, when a tram, the train, a worm, and the worm will explode. But we can't do that until we figure out what the last person's got to do, which is the person who is currently a human. Right, so once all the other team members are in their spots, they're ready, and their squids, the other person, who is a human, will need to obviously have a squid mode ready, but what they will need to do is go to a tram, call the train their location. They will then need to run down to an altar, turn into a squid, and then run up to that train area again, and very quickly they will need to zap the box. And at this point, both of the other players that are over by the trains should be zapping the boxes. And then what you will need to do is communicate very well, and everyone else will be zapping those little boxes. And then the person in the middle will need to say, okay, I can see the train coming now into the middle, and they will need to zap all three of their keepers in the middle. And what this will do is this will blow up the gateworm, and it will electrocute the big ginormous squid thing Apophicon in the sky, and then you will finish the last step. I know it sounds quite complicated, right? Believe me, when you do it, it is pretty complicated, but at the same time it's a lot easier than trying to describe it all. But it's the best way I can describe it for you in a lot of depth. Right, so now moving on. You can, if you want to, this is not necessary, but I thought I'd add it in here, pick up a purple Magwa heart. When you kill a Magwa with purple heads, you can pick up a dead Magwa heart, which is a purple Magwa heart. At the moment, nobody knows precisely what that does. We believe it could be for something that's cut out of the game, but nobody knows at the moment, so don't concern yourself too much with it. It's just something interesting in case you wanted it. And supposedly it saves your account forever. But anyway, moving on here. Right, the clips that I'm going to show you next. One clip is going to be of the two fuse boxes that I didn't electrocute. So basically, when I show you these two, it will just be me shooting at them, showing you where they are. I will explain where they are and what you need to do, obviously, when we get to those clips. But I didn't go over there and zap them in the squid mode myself, because I had to focus on another area, and obviously I'm kind of the most important person trying to do things at this point. So I had quite a big job of my own. But obviously those other two people that are in the squid mode would be zapping these fuse boxes. But what I will be doing is showing you a clip of where they are and explaining what those two people will need to do. But you will not see me zapping them in this video, I'm afraid. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about before we get onto the very last step, which is me completing it with the rest of my team, is I will be showing you the middle section where the keepers are very briefly, I'm afraid. It's not a very incredibly good picture, if you like, of it all. It's not a picture, it is a video clip, but you know, it's not the best video clip of it all. Again, because I was doing another job and obviously didn't really have time to visit it, so I apologise for that. But I will show you it, and I will explain what you need to do, as it is a sort of good enough clip for me to explain what you need to do. But yeah, those two clips are going to come up first, and then I'm going to show you the last clip, which is going to be what the person who is a normal human does before they become a squid. And I'll explain all of that, and then obviously you will see the ending cutscene and things with proper sound, and that'll be the end of the Easter egg. So yeah, God, it's taken a long time to get to this. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the two fuse boxes now. There are three, but you will see the third one at the last step where I actually complete the Easter egg, okay? So I'll move on to the two other fuse boxes now. Okay, so this is the two fuse boxes that two of the players will need to electrocute while they are in squid mode. I am very quickly in this video showing where they are. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get a clip of me shocking them, and I apologise for that, but obviously I had a bigger thing to deal with at the time. But anyway, so they are located, both these two that I didn't do anyway, are located both at the docks and the burlesque. And they are located literally right up where you would normally call the train or the tram. So if you just go up there to where you would normally push the button to get the tram to come to your location so you can ride it, you should notice these two little fuse boxes. The one for the docks is in the right hand corner, well, If you walk up the staircase, you'll notice it on your left, right in the corner. And then the other one down by the burlesque, if you walk up the stairs, you should notice it when you look at where you get on for the tram. It's right in the middle. As you can see in this video, I am shooting them for you, so they're pretty obvious where they are, and I'm hoping you'll be able to work it out from this video clip. And basically what you'll need to do, of course, is both people that are doing these spots will need to be in a squid mode, so make sure that you are a squid at this point, and you will just need to be standing ready to zap those. And obviously when the other person who becomes a squid after being a human calls the tram, you will need to be zapping these along with that other person as well. But this is the location of both of these. I hope this is somewhat useful to people that are trying to become a squid and zap these. I'm sorry it's not the best video in the world, but it's the best I could get for you, and hopefully it was helpful. So yeah, make sure you're standing up in these spots with a squid mode turned on, and of course be careful of the Magwas. Don't get killed by the Magwas, alright? If you see Magwas around you, I advise you to run away briefly, and then when it's convenient, start doing zapping and stuff when you're ready. Anyway, I'm going to move on to basically the middle area where the keepers are now, and try and explain that as best as I can. So I'm going to move on to that bit now. Right, so this is the last step with the keepers. So, as you can hopefully see from this clip, you could briefly see the keepers there in the middle. I apologize again for the really crappy video of the keepers and the fact that you don't even see the worm in this, so I do apologize for that. But again, it was not my spot and I was kind of busy doing other things at the time. But basically, these are the keepers that the person who is going in the middle will need to electrocute. So what they would do is they would jump down there in the water in squid mode, and then they would just zap each of the keepers when the tram or the train comes through. So they will need to be looking up to make sure they see where that train is coming from, and also just to let the person in the middle know if they are starting to run out of oxygen and they start getting the red pinky stuff on their screen, they can grapple out of that water area. There's a little grappling hook just on the wall to my left there, and they can grapple up there and run around the map and get a little oxygen ball if they need to. The other thing that I wanted to explain here, there are some in other parts of the map, but not as many as here, is the little purple symbols on the ground. Again, be careful of these, try not to step in them, they will hurt you, if not kill you if you're a human. So try and be careful about that, right? You don't want to step in these. Also, if you're in the water, the Magwas, the purple Magwa head people, they can't hurt you while you're down there, so you'll be safe down there if you want to get away from them at any point. But yeah, literally all the person in the middle here will need to do is when they see that train come through, and by come through I mean it'll be coming through on a rail line straight through the middle where the worm is going to be located, and as soon as you see it there, middle person, you'll need to electrocute all three of those keepers. So literally just zap each of them, all three of them even. Make sure they're zapped, and what you should see when that happens is you'll see a big spark up in the sky. Obviously the other three people on your team need to be zapping the control boxes as well, but I'll get onto the communication part in the next step. But it's very important that you communicate in this step, or else you're going to get it wrong. Anyway, this is the best that I can do for this, I think, showing you all what I can of these other places. But now what I'm going to do is going to move on to the very last step, which is us completing the Easter egg, and it's me explaining what I'm doing in my position during this, and then I will let you guys watch the whole of that end bit with volume, and you'll see the cutscene and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to move on to that step now, and that'll be the end. So I'll see you in the next step. Okay, so this is the last step. This is me doing my spot. So as you can see here, I was running up there and I called the tram. As soon as I call that tram, I let the person in the middle and the other two people on my team know that I have called that tram. It is vital you do this, or else they've got no idea when that train or tram is coming through the middle. Then when you do that, you will run down to the bottom there, become a squid, run straight back up to the top, and you saw where the little fuse box was there. It was in the corner, and you just zap it. You could tell I was zapping it there because you could see that the rail lines had become turquoise colour. When you do this, and the other two people are zapping at the same time, so make sure you're all zapping those boxes at the same time, yeah? And you also have the person in the middle zapping all three keepers, then you should hear an explosion sort of sound, and also you should notice that all the Magwas are dead if they're near you, and that you will get a cutscene, and that will basically prove that you're at the end of the Easter egg and that you've completed Shadows of Evil's Easter egg, so congratulations. It's one of the most annoying Easter eggs I've ever had to do in my life, and that's saying a lot, really, especially after Buried. So yeah, you would have completed it after that, so that's it, really. But what you will get is you will unlock a cutscene. These train lines will become turquoise for the rest of the game if you carry on playing. And what you will also notice is that you will have unlocked a calling card, which is the Shadows of Evil calling card for completing the Easter egg, so that's pretty cool. You also get 1000 XP, as you can see here, Apocalypse Averted, 1000 XP, which is not loads, but it's still enough, I suppose, to make me happy and justified. And yeah, well, you'll get the calling card, like I said, completed, the Dark Ops challenge. It is a Dark Ops. You'll get 5000 XP for that. And then also, you will get a little icon on the main menu picture of Shadows of Evil now, which will be a little green symbol in the corner of that picture with a summoning key on it. And yeah, well, literally, that's it. You've done it. You don't get any trophy or achievement for this Easter egg, so I'm sorry about that, but you get all the other things that I mentioned, basically. And yeah, once you complete this, it's useful. Now, this is where I want to explain something about the other Easter eggs. If you complete Shadows of Evil, as well as Derison, the Giant, Zetsubo, and Krobi, then it means when you do the Revelations Easter egg and finish that, you will get both trophies for Revelations Easter egg being done. You'll also get both calling cards, and you will also get a load of other unlocks like the Katana, the RK5 as the starting weapon, and stuff like that. Basically, do Shadows of Evil and do the other 4 Easter eggs as well, and you will be set. But seriously, if you do this, then it will make your life so much easier when it comes to doing that other one. And to be honest, this is the only Easter egg that was plaguing me for so long before I could get that other stuff for Revelations. This was the only one that plagued me. The other 4 were not nearly as bad. So yeah, there you go. The other 4 also you don't need 4 people for, which is kind of nice. But it's always good to do it for. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I will play this whole entire secret here with volume for you, and also I will play a little segment afterwards which will be of the calling card being shown to you on the main menu, and I will also be showing you the little symbol that you will get on your map on the loading screen, the little green symbol in the corner, so you guys can see what you will get afterwards with that as well. Also, I recommend here now, if anybody needs any help with Shadows of Evil's Easter egg or anything like that, you start putting your names down in the comment section so that you can find more players that way for both the Xbox, PS4, and also for the PC. And yeah, well, that would be good, really. It would help out everybody, I think, if you guys could do that. But anyway, that is it for this Easter egg tutorial. It was long, and it took a very long time to get this footage and put it together for you guys. So I would seriously, and I mean seriously, appreciate it if you guys could smash the like button on this video. I would really appreciate that as hell. This took forever to make. And believe me, that's saying something when I've made some of these Easter egg tutorials in the past. This one took a long time to get the clips for, and it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest, how long it did take. But I would really appreciate it if you guys could smash the like button on this video and appreciate what I've done here. Trust me, I put a lot of hours into doing this video for you guys. In fact, more than hours, months. So it would be great if you guys could show some support on this video. If you guys could share it as well, like around as well, that would be great. I would really appreciate that too. And yeah, well, that would be great. If you guys have any questions or anything regarding this Easter egg, or you got stuck on any of the steps, then again, you can let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out as best as I can. I hope that I went in enough depth and like guide for this Easter egg tutorial, because seriously, I wanted to go in as much depth as possible. What I noticed with other YouTubers is they tend to do them quite quickly, and they just sort of say the steps briefly and go through it. That's about it, really. And I can understand them doing that because they want a shorter video, and I appreciate that. But I don't want to do that. I know it's long watching a video, like if it's really, really long as a tutorial, but getting as much depth in as possible for the new people to zombies as well as the advanced people, and really giving you everything you need for each step. I always want to try and achieve that and get as much of that to you as possible, and I will keep doing that forevermore when it comes to these long Easter egg tutorials. And seriously, I hope you guys do appreciate the depth that I do go into for all these steps, because believe me, I am going into a lot of depth with them, and a bit too much, some people would probably say, but I am happy to do it, and I hope it helps a lot of people out. Especially tips for something like the flag part and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm probably going to leave it here as it really is going to get too long. So I will let the clips play in the background and stuff. If you guys did enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe as well. That would really help me out with my channel. And also, you will be able to see all future uploads for other Easter egg tutorials, as well as ones I've already done. And yeah, you will basically see everything related to zombies going up here. But again, this is the longest Easter egg tutorial I've ever made, and it did take months to do in the end, which is ridiculous, really. And well, there you go. I also want to apologise here again for my voice being a bit screwed. I am kind of a bit ill and have a sore throat and stuff, so yeah, if my voice is sounding a bit crappy at points, that is the reason why. So I apologise for that in advance, but there you go. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it there, and I will play the cutscene, and also I will play the little bit afterwards, which is the main menu showing you that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. So again, if you guys could smash the like button, I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial video. See you then, guys. Bye.
They can't get on board, can they?
I'm so sorry. I really don't have time to explain. I have a universe to set right. Thank you and goodbye.